Hello, my lovely bun-buns. Welcome to the magical world of Usagi Tales. I'm Usagi, your favorite chibi bunny VTuber, here to bring you the juiciest, most captivating stories from the depths of Reddit. Whether it's jaw-dropping drama, heartwarming confessions, or hilarious mishaps, I've got it all right here for you. So grab your favorite snack, get comfy, and let's dive into today's juicy story. This one is from Am I the A-Hole? Title, Am I the A-Hole for buying pads for my sister? A while ago, it was just me and my sister in the house, and no one else was home. She was in her bed suffering from period cramps and ran out of pads. She gently asked me if I could buy her pads. She told me the brand, and I got them for her. One day, I was talking with my girlfriend about this subject, and I mentioned that to her. She totally went mad for what I've done and told me, "That's a shame. Why on earth would you do that? I'd rather rip an old shirt and use it than ask my brother to do that. A shame remains a shame." Am I the a-hole for doing this? Is my sister the a-hole for asking me to get her what she needed in the moment? I apologize for any grammatical mistakes anyway. Edit. In addition to that, she told me, "Never comes a day where I ask my brother to buy me such stuff. My principles matter than anything. Even if all men know that periods exist, it's a big shame." Update. We texted lately and she told me, "That's your way of thinking. Do I really need to tell my brothers that I'm on my period? It's not like I'm dying anyway, and you don't need to teach my brothers or my dad what a period is." For me, a woman thing should remain a woman thing. I've never seen a boy get his sister menstrual pads, so I'm not the only one who thinks like this. I hate to expose my things. I'll tell you what, a girl needs to be responsible to prepare her own needs earlier and rely on herself. You may have a little age gap between you and your sister, but my brother is 6 years older than me. I can't ever ask him such a thing because I respect him. Oh my fluffin' carrots. This story is a whole garden of sass. So our brave storyteller is just trying to be a good sibling by getting pads for his sister, and what does he get? A lecture from his girlfriend about shame, like it's the 1800s. Seriously, ripping an old shirt instead of just asking for help? That's extreme. Periods are a normal part of life, and it's perfectly fine for siblings to help each other out. The girlfriend's reaction? More dramatic than logical. And the update about not needing to inform her brothers and dad? It's like she's auditioning for a period drama where women faint at the mention of menstruation. So, our storyteller is definitely not the a-hole here. He was just trying to help, while his girlfriend could use a lesson in openness. Now, my dear bunny listeners, what do you think? Is it time to break the stigma and make period talk as casual as discussing the weather? Share your thoughts in the comments. On to the second tale. This one is from Did I Fluff Up? Title, Did I Fluff Up by brewing dog food in my French press? So, this morning I hit a new low. I've been sick all week. Fever, cough, and feeling like a total zombie. Last night was brutal, tossing and turning, exhausted but not sleeping. So I woke up feeling even worse. All I wanted was coffee. I dragged myself out of bed, barely able to keep my eyes open, and made my way to the kitchen. Like always, I grabbed my French press, ground my beans, or so I thought, dumped them in, and poured the hot water. I stood there, zoning out, waiting for my caffeine fix. Fast forward a few minutes and it's ready. I pressed it down, poured a cup, and took a sip, and almost passed out. Turns out my congestion had completely blocked my sense of smell, so I didn't even notice something was off until the taste hit me. Yup, I had brewed a lovely hot pot of dog food broth instead of coffee. To make matters worse, my dogs were just sitting there, wagging his tail like I'd made him some Michelin star breakfast. They were very interested in this new concoction. At that point, I threw in the towel, cleaned everything up, and crawled back into bed. Still no coffee, but at least the dogs had a good laugh. Oh, sweet carrot sticks. This story is an absolute gem. Our storyteller woke up feeling like a zombie, and instead of a lovely cup of coffee, OP ended up with a steaming mug of dog food broth. Talk about a morning plot twist that no one saw coming. I can just picture the scene, all groggy and desperate for that caffeine jolt, only to be met with a taste that could put any pup to shame. I mean, come on. Who needs horror movies when you can live this kind of nightmare? And let's talk about the dog, shall we? While our poor storyteller is gagging over their canine concoction, here's Mr. Fairytale living his best life like he's just been served a 5-star meal. That tail-wagging enthusiasm, classic pup behavior right there. It's like he was the judge on Master Chef Dog Edition, relishing the fact that his human accidentally turned the kitchen into a pet gourmet kitchen. At least someone got a laugh out of this wild morning. But here's the real kicker. Even when things go horribly wrong, sometimes it's just about rolling with the punches. Or in this case, the sips of dog food. So, what would you guys do in a similar situation? Would you soldier on and try to salvage your morning? Or would you just wave the white flag and crawl back to bed like our storyteller? Let's hear your morning mishap stories in the comments below. Next up for the third story, this one is from Am I the A-hole? Title, Am I the A-hole for telling my dad he disrespected my mom's memory? My mom died when I, 16 female, was 6, and my brother, 20 male, was 10. She had created these scrapbooks of memories and letters for us, and she encouraged us to be part of creating them. My brother was writing in his before he died, but I mostly drew or maybe made some small notes. When my mom died, my brother wrote in both of ours and encouraged me to keep drawing/making notes and later writing. Dad never had much to do with them. He always said it was more of Mom's thing, and he never was good with words, written or otherwise, which is true. When I was 10, he remarried. His wife asked about the book a lot, and she offered to take over the book for me, though not my brother because he was always rude to her. I said no. She asked multiple times. I told her no, and that Mom hadn't wanted Dad's new wife to take over what she started. She was hurt when I told her, and my dad suggested that I didn't need to say something like that to her, and I should forget about what Mom would have wanted. I told him I had already said no before, and she kept asking. That it was true, and he knew it. He said Mom was selfish for that it put him in a bad place for remarrying. I told him that wasn't my fault and I could understand why she wouldn't want her replacement to do it. He told me his wife wasn't a replacement and was special and important to us in her own right. I said she was acting like she was Mom's replacement when she refused to take no for an answer. He asked me to see the positive instead of the negative. My brother was more rude after he heard about what went down. She kept asking every couple weeks since. I always said no. A few days ago, I came home from school early and my dad and his wife were home. She had my book out and was trying to think of something to write in it. I snatched it off her before she could actually do it. She started crying and I started yelling. Dad told me to calm down and she was trying to show her love. I told him I didn't care and he knew I didn't want her writing in it, that he knew it wasn't for her. He told me to calm down, and I only said that because of what Mom said. I told him he disrespected her memory by almost letting it happen. He asked how I could say that. He loved Mom and he had her longer than me, that I was only trying to hurt him by saying that. Then he told me Mom's been dead a long time now. I told him I know, but he only cares about his new wife now. He went into my room afterward and told me I really hurt him and shouldn't accuse him of disrespecting the woman who made him a dad. So, Am I the a-hole? Oh, yikes, buns. Not the a-hole for sure. This story is like the ultimate emotional tug of war, and I don't blame our storyteller for feeling so protective over her mom's memory. Her mom poured her heart into those scrapbooks, leaving her kids a bit of herself, like a legacy in paper and ink. And the way her dad's new wife keeps pushing to add her love feels way too much like someone's trying to redecorate a sacred bunny burrow. Respecting boundaries is key here, and she's clearly put up a few walls for a reason. And her dad, ugh, he's caught in a delicate warren, torn between his past love and his new marriage. But his approach is really clumsy. Instead of respecting his daughter's very clear pause off signals, he's nudging her to see things his way, as if her feelings about her mom can be pushed aside. That's gotta be a raw nerve, especially when he's basically telling her to ignore her mom's wishes. Her dad should really consider that she's not holding on to this book just for kicks. She's holding on because it's a piece of her mom, a piece that only her mom should shape. So, let's hop into this a bit deeper. How would you handle a situation like this? Would you be as fiercely protective as our storyteller, or would you let the new wife in to leave her own paw print in the book? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now for the fourth tale. This one is from Am I the A-hole? Title, Am I the a-hole for telling my uncle I would take him to court if he didn't pay me? I, 16 female, have an uncle, 44 male, who we'll call David. Last month, I was talking to David about how I was looking for a job, and I was complaining and how no one would hire me because of my age. He suggested I work for him. David is self-employed as a household cleaner. He makes a well living, and I thought it was a nice offer, and it would look good on a resume considering all I'd have on there without it would be babysitting. Well, anyways, I asked him what the pay would be, and he said he'd pay me $15 an hour, and I happily accepted. I worked 25 hours a week for a month, so I made $1,500. But when I asked him when I'd be paid, he asked me what I meant. So I clarified and said, when you will be paying me for the 100 hours I worked. He looked at me like I was crazy. I thought I got the hours wrong, so I checked again, and it was definitely 100 hours. So I showed him the hours I worked and said, yeah, 100, see? And then he said, no, I got what you mean, but why would I be paying you? And I froze for a moment before I got mad and asked him, why would he not be paying me? And he told me that I was just helping him and being a good niece while his wrist heals. He sprained his wrist 3 months prior and it was fully healed. I said that I wasn't doing that work for free, and if he wasn't going to pay me like he said he would, I would take him to small claims court. After that, he got really quiet and said he thought I was a better person and that family should help family. Am I the a-hole for telling him I would take him to court? Oh, sweet carrot sticks. This story is like a wild roller coaster through family drama land, and it seems like our storyteller just got a major dose of surprise, you're not getting paid from Uncle David. Now, here's a cheeky thought. If he thought you were just helping out, why didn't he offer you some pizza or a shiny trophy for Best Niece of the Month instead? It's like offering a kid candy and then snatching it back. Totally not cool. Let's not sugarcoat this. David's been about as helpful as a bunny with 2 left feet in a hop-off competition. He dangled that shiny carrot for $15 an hour right in front of you, and then poof, it vanished into thin air when it came time to pay up. Now, I get it. Family is important, and helping each other out is part of the deal. But there's a big difference between helping and working for free, especially when it's clear you put in some serious hours. Good niece doesn't pay the bills, hun. So, props to our storyteller for standing her ground. It takes guts to challenge family, especially when money's involved. Is she in the wrong for wanting to be compensated for her time and effort? Absolutely not. But will Uncle David get a lesson in respecting boundaries in business transactions? That's the real question. What do you think, fellow listeners? Should family always help each other for free, or is it time to lay down some ground rules? Let me know in the comments. Hopping to the fifth and last tale, this one is from Am I the A-Hole? Title, Am I the A-Hole for hiding my boyfriend's anime body pillow while my parents were visiting? My boyfriend, male 32, and I, female 27, have been together for a year. He's only met my parents once over the holidays last year because they live pretty far away. They've been visiting this past week, and since he and I just moved in together, they were excited to see our new place and get to know my boyfriend a little more. We have an extra bedroom, and this has become my boyfriend's gaming room for the most part, but we agreed when guests come over, it would be a second bedroom. He really likes video games and anime in particular, so he has a lot of toys and artwork that he's collected over the years from different games and such. One thing he has in this anime body pillow that features a sexy anime girl on it. He also has a mouse pad for his gaming computer that resembles a busty anime girl. Before my parents came over, I asked him to take down his toys and stuff so they could be comfortable. I was upset to see that he left the body pillow and the mouse pad in place. I don't really feel comfortable with either item, but he's really into anime, so I've always kind of left it alone. But I absolutely didn't think it was appropriate to leave it in there when my parents would be staying over. I took the cover off the body pillow and put the pillow in the closet, and I put the mouse pad in the drawer in our room. When my parents arrived and we showed them to their room, my boyfriend noticed the missing pillow and mouse pad. Later, when we were in bed, he brought it up to me and asked why I hid them. I told him I didn't think my parents would feel comfortable with those things in the bedroom, and when they leave, we can put them back. My boyfriend got really upset. He told me that he feels like I'm ashamed of his interest in anime. He said he spent his whole life feeling like people think he's weird for being into anime, and he didn't expect his own girlfriend to be, quote, just like everyone else. The next day, I noticed him taking some of his manga books off our bookshelf and putting them into a box. I asked him why, and he said something like, I'm putting them away so you don't have to look at them anymore. I feel really bad. I feel like I hurt him, but I just really didn't think my parents would feel comfortable sleeping in a room with those items. But now he's just acting so distant and cold, and he's not really engaging with my parents at all. They keep asking me what's wrong, and I don't know what to say. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Thank you all for the responses, and sorry it took me a few days to update. I was waiting for my parents to leave so I could talk to my boyfriend about all of this. I read through the comments and it kind of validated something I already was feeling. Sexual decor aside, the way he acted the next day when he was putting the books away really bothered me. I ended up explaining the situation to my parents, and they weren't exactly thrilled by his reaction either. I got the feeling after this trip that they don't really approve of him, which is neither here nor there. I'm 27 and I'm old enough to make my own choices. But above everything else, my parents mean a lot to me. I never get to see them, and it was important to me that my boyfriend would be present and treat them well while they were here. After they left, I drove them to the airport. Boyfriend refused to come. I came back from the airport and found a couple trash bags outside the door. Turns out that once I left, my boyfriend started throwing all of his anime things into these bags. I asked why, and he said something along the lines as before, that clearly his interests weren't welcome in my home, and he'd keep them in his car until he figured out what to do with them. I kind of snapped. I'd been keeping it all together all week for my parents, but I had enough at this point. I told him I never asked him to get rid of his anime stuff, just that it wasn't appropriate for my parents while they were staying with us. I told him his reaction is unfair and he's being manipulative. I told him that this week was supposed to be about him getting to know my parents, but he was too fixated on this anime issue to even spend any real time with them. He then called me manipulative for asking him believe that I was cool with his love for anime for the past year when I was clearly ashamed of it. He also said he didn't want to be part of a family that doesn't appreciate anime. We went back and forth for a while, and then I told him we needed space. I wasn't even really planning that, but it came out and it felt like the right thing for me. Well, he then started crying a lot and apologizing and immediately tried to take back what he said, but I was just done at this point. He left eventually, and now I'm here in this apartment alone. Well, and the mouse pad and body pillow. He left those behind. Anyway, I don't really know if we're broken up officially or what, but it seems to be heading that way. I'm just feeling awful, and I almost wish this all happened before my parents visited because I feel like it tainted the whole trip. But yeah, thanks for the replies, guys, and for helping me open my eyes a bit. Oh, sweet bunny, this is a wild ride through the land of relationship drama. Our storyteller here is caught in a delicate dance between her boyfriend's anime obsession and the need to keep her parents feeling comfy in their new nest. It's like trying to balance a carrot on your nose. One little wobble and it all goes downhill. Now, I get it. Nobody wants to entertain guests with what could be the most awkward conversation starter. So, how do you feel about this anime body pillow? Yikes. But here's the thing, communication is key, and it seems like this poor bunny is stuck in a game where the rules are lost in translation. Boyfriend feels misunderstood, like his favorite character just got kicked off in a plot twist, while our storyteller is left feeling like she stepped in a puddle of sticky icky. It's a shame he couldn't see this as a temporary compromise to make the family visit smoother. Instead, he pulls the classic, I'm taking my toys and going home move. Classic. So, what's the next step for our storyteller? Is it time for a heart-to-heart to clear the air and let him know that she loves him and his interests, but just wanted to keep the vibe family-friendly? Or has this anime adventure taken a turn for the worst? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And that's the end of today's tales, my lovely bun buns. I hope you enjoyed these juicy Reddit stories just as much as I did. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment or review to let me know what you think. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at Usagi_tales for even more fun content. And hey, if you have any stories you'd like me to read or games you want to see in the background, send them my way. I love hearing from you all. Until next time, stay curious and keep hopping down the rabbit hole of juicy stories. Bye-bye, Bun Buns!